Welcome back to the deep dive. So, when you think of Uruguay, your mind probably goes straight to their incredibly peaceful culture, maybe their gorgeous coastline.
Or the asado, right, that amazing grilled meat.
Exactly, that smoky, irresistible South American barbecue. It's iconic.
It really is. And Uruguay, well, it's often seen through that lens, history, food, maybe football. But there's something that's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Beneath that surface, this relatively small South American nation is nurturing, well, a kind of liquid jewel.
Mm.
And it's quietly starting to shake up the global wine scene.
And that jewel is the Tannat grape. So our mission today is to really dig into that whole story.
The Tannat saga, you could call it.
Yeah, we're unpacking the history, how it even got adopted there, the really unique Atlantic terroir that shapes it, and maybe most importantly, how you, listening, can actually explore Uruguay's key wine regions.
And here's a fascinating bit, this sort of paradox. Tannat, where it comes from in France, it's known for being, well, tough, really robust, super astringent.
Almost aggressive, needs years and years to soften up.
Precisely. Massive aging required. But in Uruguay, it's like it found its true home. Thanks to this unique mix of the ocean, the estuary, the soils, it becomes, as the sources say, softer and more polished.
Yeah, so a grape transformed, finding its, elegant identity far away from its origins.
Exactly. It's quite a story.
Okay, let's unpack that history then, because it sounds like it wasn't exactly an easy start. It's a story of persistence.
Oh, absolutely. Uruguayan winemaking really kicks off in the 19th century. You had European immigrants, mainly Basques and Italians, bringing their own vines over.
Standard story for the New World, trying to plant what you know from home.
Right. But the thing is, adapting those classic European castas, those grape varieties, to the Southern Hemisphere climate, it was a real struggle. Constant battle.
Until someone had a different idea.
Exactly. There's this key figure, Pascual Harriague. He was a Basque immigrant, and around 1870, he had this insight. He introduced Tannat.
But why Tannat, if it was so difficult back in France?
Well, that's the interesting part. He wasn't necessarily chasing, ultimate refinement initially. He picked Tannat because it was tough, robust. He figured it could actually survive the local climate, which is temperate but humid, and handle the heavy, fertile soils they had.
So practicality first. He needed something that would actually grow reliably.
Pretty much. Harriague basically bet the country's future wine identity on this one immigrant grape that others might have overlooked. It's kind of amazing.
And then geography gives him a helping hand, right? The terroir. You mentioned the Atlantic Ocean and the Rio de la Plata estuary.
Yes, that's the secret sauce. Being sandwiched between the huge Atlantic and this massive river estuary is everything. That constant maritime breeze is probably the single most defining feature for the vineyards.
How does that breeze work its magic?
Well, first, it acts like a natural air conditioner.
Yeah.
It stops things getting too scorching hot, which is obviously important. But maybe even more critical is the constant air movement, ventilation.
Ah, and good ventilation means less risk of
Fungal diseases, exactly. Things like mildew, oidium, they thrive in damp, stagnant air. That Atlantic breeze is like a natural preventative measure.
Which means they don't need to spray as much, right? It allows for more sustainable farming.
Precisely. It promotes much greener practices in the vineyard. And the result of this cooler, breezier condition, the grapes ripen more slowly, more gradually.
Okay, so longer hang time on the vine, what does that do for the final wine?
It lets the grapes develop much more complex aromas, really layered flavors. And, crucially for Tannat, it helps retain this vibrant, refreshing acidity. That acidity is key to balancing the grape's natural power and structure. Keeps it lively.
So the air plays a huge role. But you also mentioned the soil. It's mostly clay and limestone, which sounds kind of heavy. How does that help soften up a grape like Tannat?
It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But that clay and limestone composition actually works against Tannat's natural sort of roughness. It smooths out those inherently strong tannins.
Yeah.
It lends the wine that signature silky and velvety texture that people talk about with Uruguayan Tannat. It's just so different from the more rustic French original.
Wow. So it's the combination, the cool air, the ventilation from the sea, and these specific soils. It really is a perfect storm for transforming this grape.
Absolutely. Turning it from this powerhouse into something elegant, complex, showing those lovely black fruit notes, plum, blackberry, hints of spice. It truly defines Uruguayan wine.
That's terroir in action.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the how, let's talk about the where. Where is most of this happening? We have to start with Canelones, right?
Definitely. Canelones is the absolute heartland. About 60% of all Uruguay's vineyards are concentrated there. And yet, It's incredibly close to the capital, Montevideo, like a 30-minute drive.
That's convenient for visitors.
Very. And geographically, it benefits from being close to that Rio de la Plata estuary we talked about,
Mhm.
and it has those deep, mineral-rich clay and limestone soils that Tannat loves.
Now, Tannat is clearly king in Canelones, but you mentioned it's not the only thing they grow well there.
No, not at all. Canelones is actually pretty versatile. They do some really elegant Merlot, very vibrant food profile, and Cabernet Franc is increasingly successful there too.
Getting those characteristic green pepper and herb notes.
Exactly. But the real surprise, maybe the revelation for white wine lovers, is Albarino.
Albarino in Uruguay. I associate that so strongly with Spain, Rías Baixas.
Me too,
Yes.
additionally. But the Uruguayan version is, well, it's distinct. The constant Atlantic influence, again, keeps this incredible acidity. The focus seems to be purely on bright fruit and freshness.
So less of that sort of salty mineral thing you get in Spain, more pure, vibrant fruit.
That's a good way to put it. It's really quite stunningly fresh. A must try.
Okay, and visiting Canelones, the wine tourism, it sounds like you have options.
You really do. It offers this great contrast. You can go for the really authentic, intimate experience at a family-run place. The sources mention wineries like Pisano or Viñedo de los Vientos. You feel like you're part of the family.
Personal, hands-on.
Yeah. Or you can swing the other way and visit the large, sophisticated producers. Bodega Buza is a prime example.
Buza comes up a lot. What's the experience like there?
Well, it's high-end, excellent wines, obviously, a top-notch restaurant. But they also have this incredible curated collection of antique cars and motorcycles.
Wait, really? Antique cars at a winery?
Yep. You go for the Tannat masterclass, you stay for the vintage Bugattis, apparently.
That is unexpected and kind of brilliant. A great hook.
It certainly makes it memorable. And of course, in Canelones, the classic pairing is that robust Tannat with the smoky asado. Cuts right through the richness of grilled beef, especially cuts like picanha. Perfect match.
Okay, so from the heartland, let's pop over to the capital, Montevideo. It's not wine country itself, but it's the gateway, right?
Absolutely. Montevideo is the vibrant cultural hub. Even without vineyards in the city proper, it's where the wine culture really comes alive for many visitors.
How so? What do you find there?
Well, you find urban adegas, that's the word for a cellar or winery. Sometimes it means a tasting room or shop.
Yeah.
Buza, for instance, has a presence there. And you've got fantastic high-end restaurants like Jacinto or Francis with really deep Uruguayan wine lists. They champion local stuff.
So you can explore the wines without even leaving the city.
Definitely. And for deeper discovery, you should check out the specialized wine bars. La Fonda del Portito gets a mention. Or look for wine stores that focus on what they call vinos de autor.
Author wines, meaning?
Wines from small producers where the winemaker's personal stamp, their unique vision, is really evident. Often natural or low-intervention styles, too. Lots of exciting stuff there.
And the urban food pairing. Forget the fancy steak for a moment.
Right. For the true Montevideo experience, grab a chivito. It's this legendary, massive steak sandwich with everything on it.
Everything.
Pretty much. Ham, cheese, egg, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise. And the recommendation, pair it with a lighter, fruitier style of Tannat, maybe one with less oak. It just works. Shows the everyday side of Uruguayan wine.
Love it. Okay, so we've done the established core. Let's shift gears. Head east towards the coast to Maldonado. This sounds like a different vibe entirely.
It really is. Maldonado is the younger, maybe more audacious region. It's near the famous beach resort Punta del Este, so there's that glamour factor. But the key things here are altitude and a really strong maritime influence.
And different soils too, right? Not the heavy clay.
Exactly. Here you find rocky soils, schist, granite, and because of the altitude and the ocean proximity, you get big temperature swings between day and night. Large thermal amplitude, technically speaking.
Which is great for developing complex flavors and keeping acidity high, especially in cooler climate grapes.
Precisely. This region is really focused on elegance. It's arguably the best spot in Uruguay for Pinot Noir. Think mineral, refined structure.
Nice. And whites.
Crisp. Cool climate whites shine here, too. That vibrant Albarino we talked about, and also Sauvignon Blanc. They get this intense fruit, but also a really pronounced minerality from those rocky soils.
And the tourism experience in Maldonado. If Canelones offers contrast, what's the signature here?
Boutique experiences and often quite striking architecture. There's Viña Aden, known for its super modern design, amazing panoramic views. And then the big one, Bodega Garzón.
Garzón feels like it's on another level, international renown.
It really is. It's a proper luxury destination.
Right.
Spectacular architecture, huge focus on sustainability, which is great to see. They have a destination restaurant run by the famous chef Francis Mallmann,
The Patagonian grilling master.
the very same.
Right.
And they even offer things like hot air balloon tours over the vineyards.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely redefining the South American wine experience. It's not just rustic charm anymore.
Not at all. It shows Uruguay is playing at the highest level.
All right, let's briefly touch on a couple other regions before we wrap up the tour. Colonia del Sacramento. Sounds historical.
It is. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Beautiful old town.
Yeah.
And the wine region reflects that history. You find some really old wineries, proper historical bodegas. Bodega Los Cerros de San Juan is mentioned, founded way back in 1854. Imagine the history there. They do well with Tannat, of course, but also Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah thrive near the Rio de la Plata here.
And finally, way up north, Paysandú, the
Yeah.
frontier region.
Yeah, Paysandú is quite different again. It's warmer up there. The soils are sandier. This tends to result in tannats that are naturally a bit more fruit-forward, maybe softer tannins compared to cannellonis.
And you mentioned innovation happening there.
Right. This seems to be a place where people are experimenting, looking ahead. They're playing with hybrid grapes, for instance. The source mentions Aranarnoa.
Aranarnoa, what's that?
It's actually a crossing of Tannat and Cabernet Sauvignon. So they're actively trying to create new things, adapt, evolve. It shows the Uruguayan wine scene is anything but static. It's still developing.
Fascinating. Okay, let's pull back and look at some technical points and practical tips for anyone listening who's now thinking about Uruguayan Tannat.
Yeah.
Technically, how versatile is this grape once it's in the winery?
Incredibly versatile, actually. You get these young, really fruity styles. Sometimes they even use carbonic maceration like Beaujolais Nouveau to capture that upfront fruit and make it super approachable right away.
Easy drinking Tannat.
Exactly. But then you have the serious side. The Vino de Guarda wines made for aging.
Right, the keeper wines.
Yeah. These need really careful winemaking. And crianza, that's the term for aging, usually in oak barrels. The oak is essential to polish those tannins, integrate everything, and let the wine develop those complex secondary and tertiary notes. Vanilla, tobacco, leather, that kind of thing.
And there's a health angle too, isn't there? Something about Tannat being particularly good for you?
Ah, yes, the resveratrol kicker. This is true marketing gold for Tannat.
So what is resveratrol and why does Tannat have so much?
Resveratrol is a polyphenol, a type of antioxidant found in grape skins. It's linked to various potential health benefits, especially cardiovascular health. And Tannat, partly because of his thick skins and structure, naturally has higher concentrations of resveratrol than many other common red grapes.
So you can actually market it as a potentially healthy wine, relatively speaking.
Within the context of moderate consumption, yes, it's certainly a point of difference.
Okay, practicalities. If you're inspired, if you want to go and see these vineyards, taste the wine, eat the asado, when's the best time to visit Uruguay for wine tourism?
The absolute peak time for the buzz and energy is during the Vindima. That's the harvest. Usually runs February to March. Wineries are super busy, lots going on. It's exciting.
But maybe crowded?
Can be. So if you prefer milder weather and maybe a slightly calmer pace, then spring, say October, November, or autumn, April, May are also fantastic times to visit. Beautiful weather for exploring.
And getting around. How easy is it to navigate the wine regions?
The roads are generally pretty good because the wineries can be a bit spread out. Renting a car really gives you the most flexibility. That's probably the most practical option for independent exploring, though of course specialized wine tours are available too.
And where to stay? Any unique options?
For a really immersive experience, some wineries actually offer lodging right on site. You can stay in these charming bungalows or small guest houses, literally wake up surrounded by vines. That sounds pretty special.
Definitely adds to the experience.
Yeah.
So, to sum it all up then, Uruguayan wine tourism, particularly focused on Tannat, sounds like it's accessible, it's authentic.
And really enriching. It's a fantastic story that proves, quality and innovation aren't just about size or centuries of tradition. It's about passion, finding the right place for a grape and celebrating that connection. It's a celebration of this resilient grape that truly found its most elegant voice in Uruguay.
It really did. And that resilience, that innovation we heard about, especially up in Paysandú, it leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
What's next?
Exactly. How will that spirit of experimentation with new grapes like Aranarnoa, with refining styles in places like Maldonado, how will that continue to reshape not just how the world sees Tannat, but maybe Uruguay's entire wine identity over the next, say, 10 years?
That's the journey to watch. It's going to be fascinating.